Hello everyone, this is Satvik and welcome to the first episode in Linux Privilege Escalation series. And in this video, we'll be discussing about the enumeration part through manually. So without getting any delay, let's dive into the video. Guys, first of all, really thank you for all your support. If you want to connect to me personally, you can check out my Twitter and the LinkedIn. The links are in the description below. And if you want to be part of my community where you can share your doubts or ask few questions, you can check out my Discord server. The link in the description below. So guys, as I've told you earlier, so this video is completely based on Linux privilege escalation. So in order to follow along, I told you in the announcement video that you don't need to have anything. So I'll be leaving the link for this particular Linux privilege escalation room in the comments or in description. So do check that out. So you can access this room freely. Okay, like you don't need to have premium or anything like that. And here you can see like we got some few challenges or a few topics to be covered. So we'll be covering these topics in this series. And guys, coming to the this video. So this is nothing but enumeration, okay, and which is going to be manual way. Like you might be having some question like, Satvik, who does this enumeration manually? Like no one does it, because even I too don't do this enumeration manually. I use some scripts out there, but the reason why I'm covering this particular thing is like you don't be limited, you don't get limited to a, like a script kiddie. Like if you know what these tools are doing, you might be having some better understanding on what's going or what's happening. And also these enumeration manually, like you will understand some few tools which are built in the Linux environment. And also in order to do this, so make sure you are having some access to the target machine, or you don't need to have a target machine in this case. Like you can have within your Kali Linux, you can run this if you want to. Okay, so enumeration manually, so make sure you are having an access to the system, access to like target system. So as we are going in some CTFA, let us assume we want to have some access to the target machine. Okay, and also since you are having access to the target machine, I think that you might also be having something like an attacker machine, kind of like Kali Linux or Parrot OS or anything of your choice, like Ubuntu, anything. And guys, right now I'm on my attacker machine, and this is how you connect to a VPN configuration file. So use a tool called as OpenVPN and provide the VPN configuration file name. Let me hit enter, and if you are not root by default, so make sure you are using sudo command. So let me find out the IP address of this machine. So like I'm taking this particular room as a reference, guys. You can feel free to do this on anything. Okay, any machine, like it can be other CTFs or anything like that. So make sure the machine is Linux based. Okay, so let's ping this stuff first of all, so that we can see the target is live. Yes, we can see the target is live. So for this room, they had given an SSH connection to a user named Karen, and I'm connecting to their IP. And let's wait. Yeah, let me give the rights here, and enter the password which is available here, right? And also guys, the best way for you is to take notes, because it will be really helpful for you. And also I had created a Linux privilege escalation notes, like a handbook kind of thing. So I leave the link for that GitHub repo in my description below or in the comment section. You can use that in order to do some kind of looking forward, like these commands, etc., like that. So first of all, we got an access to the machine, guys. So like if you do a who am I, so who am I is the basic command that you can use. Okay, so if you do a who am I, you'll be showcasing, it will showcase the current user you are logged in as, and that's the basic command every one of us use. So if you get root by default, then you don't need to do all this process, since most of the CTFs, like if you take some kind of intermediate kind of boxes or rooms which are Linux based, you might be not getting root by default. So that's the thing. So who am I will definitely help you, like of which user you had logged in as, or which user you got access. And one important thing and one more cool thing is called this thing called host name. So this might not be a bit mostly used thing. So it tries to tell you the name of the machine that you logged in, or the name of the target machine that you logged in. Okay, so even this is a cool thing that you can use it. Sometimes what happens is like these host names might be the kind of like some kind of hint there, like it can be some name of an exploit or anything like that. You can try out that. Okay, and the next part. Okay, and the next part is like finding out more information regarding OS. So previously we had seen what is the username and what is the host name. Those might not be interesting all the time, but trying to find out the information regarding the OS, like the Linux OS, will definitely help you in order to find out some exploits, etc. like that. So one common thing that you can use, uname is one of the most and the most used inbuilt tool for Linux. So if you do an option -a, and also guys, I will be specifying few options that I am using like mostly, like there will be multiple options for each tool, so you can explore any of them of your choice. And if I made any mistakes, do let me know, or if I missed any important part, do let me know, okay, in the comments below. And you can see I got some information, like I got some kernel versions, etc. like that. You can see it is Ubuntu based machine, like what is the time, etc. like that. Like you got some information regarding the OS. Like this is like a small information, and there are some other tools or some other ways in order to get more information regarding the OS. So let me clear this. So Altel is not working here. So that's the reason I'm using clear every time. So the one more thing that you can use is like you can simply view the etc and what you call this uh, issue. So there is a file called as in issue in etc folder issue. So if you click on that, you will be trying, you can find out the exact version of the operating system. So you can, what you can simply do is like you can simply copy this exact version of this operating system, and you can look for some privilege escalation part. Okay, so that is the thing, that is one more thing. And one more thing you can use is like, so cat uh, proc and this version, like these all are some kind of files that you can view. Like sometimes you might not able to view them, like if they are protected. So if there is a possibility of viewing, you can definitely look into that. And here you can see some more information, like some kind of other, like same like uname -a option tool only, but you got some more information, right? So make sure to note these points down in some notes, or you can use my notes which I'm linking in the description below. So that is the thing, like we gathered then information like what is the OS and usernames, etc. like that. And also you can simply type an option called as a tool called as ID, or a command line called as ID. So it's names like what is the user ID, what is the user ID of the current user, group ID, etc. like that, and what groups he is available in, he or she is available in. So even this is a cool tool to look for. Cool tool in the sense like a cool application, like we can call these cybersecurity tools, like these all are some inbuilt tools, okay, in Linux bash. So that is what you can use. And now since we got some information regarding what this machine is all about, so let's see what are the processes it is running. Yes, see, every operating system has some processes running over there. Like if I open my Windows, it will be something called as task manager. You can find out some information, some process that are running over here. Okay, and even in Linux, since we are not blessed with some kind of a graphical user interface, like we get some these kinds of command line what you call login only. So you can use some command line tool called as PS, and you can simply hit enter. So it shows you what are all the process that are running. And also this particular tool PS has some options over here. So you can use something like PS and hyphen capital A. It is going to show you all the process that are running on the system. Okay, like you will be getting a lot of process that are running. You can see SSH, but in the previous example we got only two options or two processes that are running. But if you use this option, you can see more processes that are running on this machine currently right now, on like target machine right now. Okay, and the next one is like there are lot more options, guys. Like if we keep on going, we get a lot more options. Like if you do PS hyphen hyphen help, like you get tons of options here. Like all these are options only. or you can simply read the nano pages of this ps tool. And also if you want to like if you haven't understood any command or anything like that, so there is something called as explainshell.com. There is a website called this. So what you can do is like you can simply post it like this, ps hyphen capital A. Like you can hit on that command and it is going to explain you clearly. Like you can see this is like a snapshot of a current process. Like it is going to show you all the processes, and hyphen A is like select all processes. Okay, like you can use this tool also in order to obtain the information. Like if you were unable to understand any of the linux commands, like everyone doesn't understand everything, right? So with the help of this particular tool or this application, you can understand whatever happening over here, right? So one more important thing that is I think mostly people use is psaux. So like this is going to tell you everything, like what user are running, what user is running what processes, etc, like that. So this is going to be definitely helpful. Like since we will be privilege escalation, in the sense like we are trying to get from normal user to the root user, right? So this information might be useful for you. Okay, so you might find some info, some process which are some kind of messy, so you can try to escalate through them. Okay, but that's a different part. Right now we'll be concentrating only on the enumeration. Okay, so that's it. Like these are like two to three options that you can try out, but there are a lot of options that you can try out on this particular tool ps. Okay, and yes, you can try out them or you can note them. You can look for other sources which teach you better than like which teach you better like more options of this tool. But these are fine. This ps hyphen a will work absolutely fine, and aux also work absolutely fine. Okay, and the one important thing that I want to mention here is env. So there is something called as environment variables. So these are some kind of variables. Okay, so if you are familiar with programming, so there will be something called as variables. Like we don't need to enter a value multiple times. Like if you add them to a variable, it is going to store the data. So if you can see, these are some, if I simply type env, okay, I'm going to see some environment variables. Like what is the user variable is going to be karen, and ssh client version, etc, like that. Okay, and even the what is the shell that is running, what is the path. So this is really interesting because we will be using these ways in order to escalate. Okay, and you can see some other stuff as well, like what shell we are having, what is present working directory, and where it is connect, like what are the ssh connections. So you can see that we are connected to this machine. So this is the ip address of my machine, okay, of my attacker machine. So with the help of this env, you can try to find out what you call these environment variables. So let's clear the terminal once again. And and one more thing, one important tool, like not tool, like one important command that I run every time whenever I log into a linux machine like a normal user is sudo -l. Okay, sometimes what happens is like if you run this particular command sudo -l, it is going to list some processes, okay, or some binaries or some applications that you can run as root without any password. Okay, so that is what this particular command, okay, displays for us. But here it is not possible because it is asking me for the password. But if it haven't asked for the password, it might show you something. Okay, some process, some application or anything like that, we can run that, and there will be videos coming on that, like how you can use this particular sudo -l or sudo privileges, you know, like how you can misuse these sudo privileges in order to get some privilege escalation in upcoming videos. Okay, so that is what it is. And yeah, and one important thing we can see is like and a cool thing that we all know is there is a file, there are few files called as etc password and etc shadow. Sometimes you might view them, sometimes you might not view them. So that is dependent. So password pswd consists of the usernames that are available on this machine, and most people think that it contains the hashes. No, it doesn't contain the hashes of the users, but it is going to contain the username and also their location, their working directories, etc, like that. And there is other file called as etc shadow. So this particular you can see it is permission denied. Okay, that's fine. So let me open my terminal here. Okay, and let me show you this thing. Since I'm root here, so I can view all those stuff. So shadow, you can see I got some few users, and these are the hashes. So if you can view this password file and the shadow file, there is a chance on how you can decrypt them if there is possible. Like decrypt in the sense like hash doesn't have some concept of encryption or decryption. So you can try to find out what is the value of that particular hash. So you can do that, like there is a chance. Okay, so yes, so that is it. And let me do clear once again. Okay, and one important command that I use mostly, okay, is history. So if you don't know what history is, like history is the command which tells you everything. Okay, so like it is going to show you what are all the previous commands that ran on the system. Like if you take the ctf boxes or try hack me rooms, it is going to be disabled because like some users might have run some tools etc like that. Like we can view them and we can get some cheat tricks kind of thing. So I'll show you on my main machine. So history, you can see I ran some lot of commands here. So you can see I installed some stuff etc like that. So you can see all going on over there. Okay, but if you take some these challenges or in some competitive exams, it is not going to work. Okay, so that is the thing that you need to remember. And if you are like on real machines, real world machines, then this command definitely works. Okay, and let's go to the network configuration part. So right now we had seen some sensitive files. We're able to find out some information on what files we can run without any sudo password or anything like that. And also we try to find out some environment variable. We're able to see some processes that are running on this machine and etc like that. So now let's go to the network part. So we can see if you know what network part is, like what are all the systems it is connected to, what is the ip addresses it is having etc like that. So in order to view ip address in any machine, so it is simply ifconfig. Sometimes this tool might not be working, like some machines might not have this thing. So you can see we got some information here, but if it is not working, so you can simply do ip space a, and this particular tool ip space a is going to ip, and the option a is going to show. Okay, in almost all the linux operating systems have this thing. So that is how you can trust. And there are other information, like what you can do with the information, like you can note them down. Okay, so it might be useful in the future, it might be or it might not be. Like all the information that we collect in this enumeration part might not be useful in the real life, but there is definitely a chance. Like all the cyber security is based on chance, right? So that is what happens. So let me clear, and now I'll be introducing you a cool tool called as netstat. Okay, so netstat is a network routing tool. So netstat hyphen help, like this particular tool is going to show you all the options, like what are all the connections that this particular machine made, or what are all the devices it is connected to etc like that. So there are some options that we'll be covering. So the main important option is netstat hyphen a, and let me hit enter. Now it is going to show me some few connections that I made. Okay, so let me go top. You can see it is connected to, these are all our ports, these all are ports. What is the path, the nodes etc like that, you can view them. Okay, or if you don't understand, you can simply use explain shell, and you can see what's happening over there. So this is going to show you all the listening or established connections that this particular target machine made. Okay, so it might be helpful for you or it might not be helpful depending upon the scenario. Okay, and if you want to see only tcp connections that this particular system made, so simply do netstat hyphen a and t followed by an option called as t. So you can quickly briefly look into the options and you will understand what are all these options meant. So t in the sense it is only looking for the tcp connections. So all these are tcp connections. You can see that we connected to an ssh to some other machine. You can see this is the ip address of this particular target machine, and this is the ip address of my machine. You can see the connection is established. So like this you can view some stuff, like you might find some like some information which might be useful. And in the same way, if you want to look for UDP connections, so you can use an option U here, so that it will be looking only for the UDP UDP connections. Okay, so that is how it works. And let me do clear once again. So netstat, and you can also use an option called as L. So this is going to show you only the listening connections, what are all the connections that is listening to. Okay, it is like waiting for the connection kind of thing, or it sends some request and it is listening, etc., like that. Okay, like this there are a lot of options, guys. Like you can look for the interface related information, like what are all the interfaces that are connected to. And there is one more thing called as this is the most used thing, netstat hyphen, not hyphen, I think so, yeah, hyphen a and o. So it is going to show everything. Like you can see, like every connection, like it is not going to miss anything. All these are like, it is going to show every option. So this is the tool, or this is the command that I use most frequently. Okay, so I might find some information which might be cooler, or sometimes I might not find out. Okay, so that is what this particular netstat does. Like there are a lot of options, guys. Like if I mention all those, it is going to be a 1 hour video, but let's keep this video simple. Okay, so let me clear once again. And here there is one more thing. So whether when you get an access to a machine, you will be using this tool called as find pretty frequently. Okay, so as the name suggests, find, it tries to find out all the files. Okay, like it tries to find out some files, binaries, etc., like that, through the help of regex. Okay, so the syntax is simple. So you need to specify the tool name and you need to specify the path you want to look for. If I simply mention slash, in the sense it will be looking in the whole Linux machine. Okay, and I need to specify some options. So let's look for a name option. Okay, I'm looking for name. I'm looking for files with the name of flag star dot txt. Okay, and I'm going to use an important statement here, or important argument here. So this is, you might see in this like more times, because what this particular thing does is, what this particular thing, two greater than dev slash null, this particular segment does is, like when you run some tools, when you run this particular tool, since we are a normal user base, like we are a normal user and we are having some limited functionality, but we are searching for across the machine. So whenever you, when you're using this tool, since we are having less privileges, it is going to throw a lot of errors. So if you use this particular statement or particular option, it is going to remove all of them. Okay, you can see I was able to find out a file called as flag1.txt, which is in some home mat folder. Okay, home in some mat users account. Okay, like that there are many options, guys. Like you can look for many options. I leave a detailed video, okay, for the find tool, because if I try to cover this particular tool, like it is going to take a lot of time, lot of time, because it's a big tool. Like it requires its own explanation. Okay, like I can't explain everything within this tool, but there is something like you can look for some permissions, etc., like that, with option hyphen perm. It's like that. But stay tuned, like I'll leave a link for one of the best video which explains this find tool which pretty much easily or simply. So you can do check them out if you want to learn more. But mostly what we use is, like we use something called as suid. There is some concept called as suid. So we'll discuss about that in the upcoming videos, because this is not the end of the Linux privilege escalation part. So I'm being showing you this thing hyphen perm. So I'm looking for permissions here. Okay, of which is of suid. So suid is a kind of permission. So what happens is, like when you give some suid permission, so it will be looking for like the particular process or an application can run as root, okay, without any password or anything like that. So that is the advantage of this suid. Like it is as advantage for us, because like I had done a lot of machines. I rooted a lot of machines with the same suid part only. So you'll find out this more. Like it is a different video, guys. Like this video is going to be a bit lengthier, but the next videos are going to be short and simple, so we'll look there. Okay, and I'm looking for type file, and I'm adding my thing here. So dev slash null. So it is going to look for all the options. You can see some few files that you can which is having some suid permissions. I'll teach you how you can do them in the future, so that's a different part. So like that there are many more options, guys. Like you can use some tools like locate. Okay, you can use some tools like grep. So these are like for finding out the stuff. So locate, grep, etc like that. So grep is for like regex kind of thing. Okay, and there is some options called as sort, etc like that. So make sure you what you use. Okay, you can use some delimiters, some use some appending, etc like some use tools like sort, unique, etc like that. So it is dependent, okay, on what tool you are going to use. So this is pretty much everything guys for this Linux privilege escalation, like this enumeration manually part. In the next part I'm going to show you some few scripts through which you can run them manually, so not in the sense of automatically. Okay, you can simply run that script and it is going to do all this process that we had done. So that is it guys for this video. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and if you really do, make sure you like it and do share with your friends who are really interested in this OSCP and this part. So that is it guys. This is Satvik signing off, and I'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.